size of America's economy in dollars. As you know, the United States carries a national debt. By the end of 2012, the total federal debt projected to be approximately what percent of the U.S. GDP? 100 is correct. We get give you a good. Somebody's in March. Number 3. In 2010, the U.S. government borrowed about how much have y'all already told you? 46. Number 4, 2010 what was the total amount of the federal deficit? 1.5. You had that, 1.5. Number 5, according to the White House Office of Management Budget, waste, fraud, and abuse accounted for approximately how much of the 2009 federal budget, which totaled $3.1 trillion?
All of it.
It's not all bad. 100 billion. Number 6, eliminating all the waste, fraud, and abuse reported by the White House OMB would cut what percent of the $1.5 trillion deficit? We figured it out. 7%. And let me just give you we had an oversight investigation committee hearing on Veterans Affairs. Let me just tell you how well the government works. I don't want to take my bunion off. We have a set-aside, a $3 billion program over 5 years for veteran-owned businesses, so that a veteran who comes back overseas can go to the VA and they get preferential treatment in there. You know how much of that was spent, how much of the OIG did an investigation? 76% of that money did not have a veteran involved. $3 out of $4. Unbelievable how bumbling that was. So even I was shocked with that. Number 7, if we were to cut all earmarks, okay, that's good, $17 billion. We've already cut it out. We go to the next one. We've already given that away. True or false? If you roll back the Bush tax cuts for all Americans, we could balance the budget. Correct. Top 1% of all wage earners in America pay about how much? What percent of all federal income tax?
58.
38. It's about 40 now. Here's the way it goes. It's easy to remember. Top 1, 40. Top 5, 59. Top 25, 87. Top 50, 97. So the top 50% of wage earners pay almost all federal income taxes paid in this country. So when you hear tax the rich, it looks to me like they're already doing it. Top 10%, 70%, number 11. What percent of Americans currently pay no personal income tax? 47. You got it. Give it 2 minutes. In 1965, when Medicare was created, which of the following was the average life expectancy for an American, according to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control? 70. 7 years old. It's almost 80 now. And by the way, guys, I got to pass this along to you. Just read it. We're actually moving our life expectancy up faster than the women are. Fine. Keep it up. You take it, live toward exercise. 13. And now, today in 2011, what's the life expectancy? 79. That's for a child born today. So 1907, the life expectancy in America was 47 years old. That's how much in 100 years we've improved. Amazing. According to the American Medical Association, nearly what percent of primary care physicians already limit their Medicare patients in their practice? 31. Scary. 31. 15. 1940, there were 159 workers for each Social Security beneficiary. As of 2000 now, there are what percentage of workers for every Social Security beneficiary? 3. That's correct. And last one, true or false, President Obama's budget by the White House's own projections will accumulate more debt by 2020 than every president in American history from George Washington to President Bush combined. That is true. Let me tell you one final story and take some questions on Social Security. You should have figured it out. Some of you have heard me say this today. Ida Mae Fuller. Ida Mae Fuller paid 75 cents a month. She was the first person to get a Social Security check. She did this whopping amount for 3 years. She paid $22.75. And she had the audacity to live to be 100. She collected $22,888 and change. We should have figured it out with her. It ain't gonna work. So anyway, we got to have some change with Social Security, but not much. And let me finish. And one other, I'm going to proselytize here a little bit. I think the worst thing about this debate we just had was the president insinuating that if we didn't pass this debt ceiling increase, that Social Security checks, I cannot tell you how many senior citizens who live with a Social Security check, including my mother, who came up and said, please, Dr. Rowe, are they going to send our Social Security check? That was as wrong as you get. Let me just quickly tell you what would have happened. I think $29 billion to cover the debt, and I looked at every day that we went through every day of the month of August. We sat down one day for 2 hours, went through every day of the month of August, how much money came in, and what check went out that day. So we could have paid interest on the debt. Social Security is about $50 billion. We could pay that. We could pay Medicare. We could pay that. We could pay Medicaid, and we could pay soldiers. Then we ran out of money. We had $174 billion coming in from the 3rd of August to the 31st of August. Unfortunately, we had $302 billion worth of bills. So along there somewhere, you just run out of money. And that's the problem that you ran into. But there was never a time when the president couldn't have paid Social Security and Medicare. Never a time. So that really bothered me because I'm going to a senior center tomorrow in Irvine and try to straighten that out. We went to Mountain City last Friday to a senior center. When you see this to our friends and neighbors, please pass this along. And I think that was very important. It really bothered me to see our seniors terrified, some especially living alone.
Because you know we're going to hear that in the election. So what kind of strong communication is the party going to do to counteract that?
The question is, this is going to happen through the election. How can you counteract it? It's very difficult. Let me tell you why it's difficult. If you didn't have Fox News, you wouldn't know what was going on. The story, the national news stories are set to ABC, CBS, and NBC, Washington Post, and the New York Times. And there was an article in Today, and I was scared to even look. I talked to a Washington Post reporter last week, and fortunately, she sort of said what I said about something. But anyway, you're not going to ever get a break on that.
You got to go around it.
So you've got to go with what we do. I mean, I write an editorial or two every week. We use Facebook, we use Twitter, we use the other media is how we have to communicate because otherwise you're not going to get a break. And Fox, fortunately, will put us on and let us have our say. And let me say this about Fox. If I've been on an opinion show like Retta Van Susteren, I've been on there by myself. But if it was to discuss an issue between two, they've always had a Democrat and me on there. They are fair and balanced. Both sides get to be heard. And one of the things that I'll go on the Lawrence O'Donnell show on MSNBC is that I want them to throw the shoe at the television when I'm on. I want their audience to hear what we've got to say. That's who we need to be preaching to. It's easy to go on Fox, but it's tough because you're going to get ripped to shreds when you go on there. And I'll have to be honest with you. I turned down my last MSNBC interview. We just had a huge debate. I was tired. They said they want you on at 6 o'clock. This is about 5:30. And I said, when am I going to be on with it? They said, Reverend Al Sharpton. I said, I've already taken that. Anthony Winter team. I said, I don't think I can do that. So anyway, I backed off and didn't do that. Yes, sir.
One quick thing. I know a lot of folks have a lot of questions they'd like to ask. Remember our 3-minute rule. If your question lasts more than 3 minutes, you're going to get cut off because too many other people want to talk. Go ahead and ask questions, though.
Yes, sir.
Yes, I wanted to know why, when you passed the bill in Congress for the cut that balance or why didn't you just sit on your hands and say, there's the bill to the Senate, and they wouldn't even look at it? Why did you have to go and reinvent the bill over and over?
Here's the way the negotiation took place. Let me give you some inside the bell and answer that question. Reid and Boehner, McConnell, and Van Hollen, who was actually, Chris Van Hollen is the guy from Maryland who was doing the negotiating on the Democratic side. They had an agreement. went to the White House.